Hi, it's Corey McCullough from Ageless Fighter Studios here, and I'm here to talk about what ended up being the series finale of Gotham Knights. Well, not just that in particular. I want to talk about the Gotham Knights show as a whole because CW, why did you cancel it? Like, it was good. I mean, yes, it started off kind of on the wrong foot, but you know what? It got good. Like, after it found its footing, it got good. And that ending, and I'm kind of pouty now. Like, I'm really pouting. Like, and I get it. You want to focus on the one superhero show you have left, which is Superman and Lois, which, gotta say, I'm sticking with Superman and Lois. I've seen the finale. I'm just not feeling your Luthor. I'm not. I'm sorry, but Luthor's supposed to be like this suave businessman. Like, he sets off alarm bells in your head, but you can't tell, but you don't understand why, because he seems so, charismatic and smooth, and you're thinking maybe it's all in your head, and then it's because secretly in the back he's like doing all these things that are illegal and very horrible and bad, and it's like one of those but then again, I could be wrong. You could be basing your new Luthor off of some comic version of Luthor, but all the Luthors that I have remember seeing, except for that one that shall not be named from Dawn of Justice, I mean, they were great. They had this smooth talker, charismatic leadership thing going on, where like he set off alarm bells in your head, but you didn't know why, and you kind of thought maybe you were crazy or paranoid because there couldn't really be something evil there, but he is. Like, that's... Anyway, this is not about Superman and Lois. I'm sorry. Also, Superman and Lois, you're getting rid of most of your cast. Did the whole Doomsday thing take up all your budget? Is that what happened? Because we didn't have to have Doomsday. You could have let the Bizarro Superman, have his death. Like, I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm not going to be doing a video on... Well, I'll probably do a thing on Superman and Lois later. I'm just kind of mad at them right now, so I don't know if I'm actually going to do anything with that. I'll probably make a video later when I'm done being mad. But right now, Gotham Knights. So the premise is Batman's kicked the bucket. He's been murdered. And so his adoptive son and a bunch of criminal kids have been charged, or they are been set up for his murder, and they're trying to clear their name. That's like the whole premise. And there's kind of a video game that's been made about this with the same criminals. Spoiler, it's the Court of Owls. Which the Court of Owls have been done over time. I mean, it's not... The Court of Owls is interesting, and I kind of like the way they set it up this time. But the fact is, they let out Gotham Knights and named it Gotham Knights, the same as this video game, so that probably caused some problems. Other problems include the invention of O.C. Turner Hayes, because they did not have, they couldn't really take in, any of the normal Robins, like Dick Grayson, or Jason Todd, or Tim Drake, Damian. They couldn't do that, which was sad. But it's okay. I mean, I like Turner. I think he was kind of a mix of Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, kind of. Like, in the way that they both they were orphans that were taken in by Bruce at a very young age, and I don't know. It's just something about Turner, like, he had these really sweet moments that made you think more Dick Grayson, but then he's also got this edgy, willing to do whatever it takes to survive kind of thing from Jason Todd. I don't know, maybe I could be, the Bat people are going to come and slander me later. It'll be fine. I don't know how to put this. I don't know. There are so many questions that were left unanswered that I'm kind of upset about. Like, we don't know like, Alfred wasn't part of this, so there's no Alfred, and that made me really sad, because Alfred is, like, the glue that holds Batman together and everything, and the fact that Batman, like, Bruce Wayne died, and there was no Alfred at his funeral, or any mention of Alfred, kind of upsets me, unless Alfred's already kind of passed away, but still, someone should have said something about it, or maybe even his daughter should have, like, popped in, or whatever, like she did on the Batwoman. But I digress. There was no Lucius Fox or mention of Fox, Lucius, or his son Lucas. Which, I mean, Lucas could have been just a thing from the Batwoman, but I'm not 100% sure, because I've read comics that have had or mentioned Batwing, so I don't know. All I know is there was no mention of Lucius Fox anywhere. I'm really upset about that too, because Lucius Fox is, like, a big deal. I'm upset that Bruce has been Batman for a while when he died, but no one, like, there were no cameos or anything of the heroes he's probably worked with before, like, in the crowd or whatever. Like, I don't know, that just... Anyway, it is what it is. But I still think it'd been nice if Tyler... I hope I say his last name right. Hoechlin could have made, like, a little cameo appearance as Superman being with the graveside of his BFF Bruce. I mean, it's just, you know, it could have happened. Also, where the hell is Jim Gordon? What happened to Jim Gordon? I got attacked by bugs. But where's Jim Gordon? Yeah, mosquitoes like me. But where's Jim Gordon? Where was Jim Gordon? Where was Jim? He's like a big deal. He is a big deal. Or Babs. Where was Barbara? I mean, I get it. CW only has so much money. You can only afford so much. But still... DC, why'd you have to do Gotham Knights like this? CW, why? DC, why? So, I kind of liked that we saw Turner be a normal kid, like Bruce made him be a normal kid, instead of becoming like an official bat brat. Like, he didn't take him in under his wing as a Robin or anything. He let Turner be a kid. So Turner, admittedly, when he starts off, he kind of has this rich boy, laissez-faire attitude. And, you know, rich kid TM, though he's still very polite and respectable to people. Which is nice, you know. He's not a complete jerk, because Bruce doesn't raise complete jerks. Just, you know, sort of jerks. It is what it is. And his best friend is Stephanie Brown, who you may know as the Spoiler, you know, in the comics. She doesn't get to go by her code name in the show, I'm sorry to say, or at least, but there's a hint to it. Where she says, someone says something about, let's spoil their fun, or whatever, and she's like, oh, yay, I think she says it. There was a lot that happened. I can't remember every detail. But, we have Stephanie. And then we have Brody March. If his last name sounds familiar, his dad is Lincoln March. Again, and keep in mind, this is a Quarter Vowel story, so keep up. We get Duella Dent, who goes by the Joker's daughter. But you know, if you've read the comics, you know there's a little surprise, and the surprise they did that little twist with Duella, but they did it in a whole different way than you would think, and it kind of makes me really happy that they did it that way because it makes sense because of the storyline. And it's Harvey. Harvey's her daddy. I'm gonna spoil it. I just spoiled it, which you know. I'm just gonna put a thing in the description. This is a big spoiler. This is a spoiler zone. Like, this is not spoiler free. But yes, which it's not really a spoiler either if you've read the comics. Where, yes, Harvey is Duella's real daddy. Duella Dent. Harvey Dent. Which, I mean, it is what it is. Oh my gosh, I loved Harvey. I was kind of prepared, not really sure I was going to, because I thought everybody was like hyping up Misha Collins because he's Misha Collins, and I get it. He is a really good actor. I will give him that. But I thought people were hyping up his performances on here a little bit, and I was over here going, can he really do the Harvey? Yes, he can do Harvey. He can do Harvey, and I wish we had more of it, especially because we were about to get his villain era, and I was here for it, but we didn't get it, and I'm so mad. Somebody please take the Gotham Knights and continue. I'm okay. We got Carrie Kelly. If you don't know about Carrie Kelly, she is a newer-ish Robin. She had a film debut in, I think, Batman Year One. Basically, Batman had retired for a while, but then he came back because Gotham was, like, under siege, and there's this little redheaded girl running around helping him, and he's over here like, get out of here, and she's over here like, I'm helping. And then, you know, a typical Batman Robin thing. This Carrie is a black girl, and she is awesome. I love her. I kind of wish we had more time with her. Like, we got to see her whole character arc. Well, not her whole character arc, but we saw her go from being okay with being just a dynamic duo with Batman to her being a soloist to her having her own group and her being a sort of, not quite the team leader, but the one that had the most experience with doing these vigilante things. And I was just like, And also, she's not an orphan. She has a mother who loves her and tries, and it's beautiful. And we stand Carrie Kelly. And then you have the Rowe twins, Harper Rowe, aka Bluebird, or was it Blackbird? I think it was Bluebird. And her trans brother, Cullen, who is awesome. And then we even get Brody March later on, because, yeah. So we have so the group that gets framed for Bruce's murder is Turner, Duella, and the Rowe twins. They're the ones that got blamed. And, like, they're supposed to go to prison to await trial or whatever, but the police are corrupt AF because this is Gotham, and when aren't the police corrupt? So they try to kill them because the Court of Owls is like, we'll give you a bunch of money if you kill them because we don't need witnesses. And that's where Carrie comes in with her batarangs and her Robin awesomeness and, you know, saving their lives. And then Stephanie comes through because even though she like hacks the bat system, and she's over here like, I know why they think you did it, but I know you did it because you're not smart enough for this. Which, you know, is like, gee, thanks, Steph. Thanks. Which she ends up helping them find a place to hide, which is at the school, because for some reason nobody checks the belfry of the school. But again, this is Gotham, so I mean, you know what? I'm just going to say it's Gotham. Whenever something doesn't seem quite right, it's because it's Gotham. It's Gotham. There's like a... Anyway. So it's Gotham. And then, of course, that sets the whole thing in motion of we're going to clear our names, we're going to drag out these quarter vowels, we're going to make them see the light of day, and every episode, Duella's just over here like, you're going to get us killed, I'm leaving, screw it, you're going to die without me, so here I am to make sure nobody dies, because she wants a family, but she's not going to claim she wants a family because she's, like, traumatized. I mean, the girl grew up in Arkham, which I don't know how CPS allowed that. I don't know what the fuck was going on. Like, I don't. But for some reason, CPS doesn't work in Gotham, and Duella was allowed to live in Arkham with her mother. Yes, Arkham as in Arkham Asylum. And, yeah. Everybody claims she was the Joker's daughter. Even the Joker claimed her because why not? Biggest joke ever. Because, you know, nobody, the girl mother didn't want her little pipsqueak get hurt while in Arkham, because, and if everybody thought she was the Joker's daughter, nobody was going to touch her. Which, I mean, fair play. Which, Duella's mama, I hate her. I hate her guts. Like, I wanted to like her. I really did. But, spoiler, she tried to sell her own daughter out to the Court of Owls to let her get blowed up. Nah. And this is after she drugged the girl's boyfriend to also sell him out, because you know how everybody wants to be like, Joker and Batman are together? Well, Joker and Batman were sort of kind of ish together in this, because Bat Brat, aka Turner Hayes, and Joker Brat, aka Duella, they hooked up. And I mean, it was more than just a hookup, because you could tell they have real feelings, especially at the close to the finale when they're like clinging to each other. Like Duella's latched onto him because he was the first person to like not really lie to her, and was like always straightforward with her. And she's just like latches onto that, and then she latches onto the rest of the team too, because she's never had backup like that before. I mean, you have to look at it from Duella's point of view. She grew up in Gotham, in Arkham Asylum, with a mother in Arkham, because her mom, even though her mom's not entirely crazy, was made out to look crazy, which I'll get to that later. And so from her perspective, Gotham always treated her like trash. They threw her aside. They treated her like she was the scum of the earth simply because of who her parents were. So, to make up for that, she decided to show them, yeah, sure, why not? You want me to be the villain? I'll be the villain. You want me to be the Joker's daughter? I'll be the Joker's daughter, complete with a bunch of grenades that I am willing to set off at any moment. Well, not just grenades, bombs in general. She's the bomb squad girl. She's also the one who understood the key about the Court of Owls. Which, spoiler alert, the Court of Owls is the ones who killed Martha and Thomas Wayne at the beginning of the Batman arc. Like the reason Batman became Batman. Why? Because Thomas and Martha were going to make distribute their wealth better, so that the poorer communities of Gotham would be better. And the Court of Owls is not like that, because how can they exploit and profit off the poor if the poor aren't poor anymore? So yeah. Because the Waynes were trying to be good people, they got caught. Which is the same reason they went after Batman, because Batman was this close to outing the Court of Owls, and he also had changed his will, so that the majority of his wealth that didn't go to keeping up Turner was to benefit the rest of Gotham, because he had that kind of money. And the Court of Owls was like, no. Also, the Court of Owls tried to get Turner to like join them and become their Talon, which is like their one of their they're assassins. The Talons are their assassins, and they're actually technically undead, which is really weird, but that's because they're using a space rock, essentially, to... Yeah. It's wild. It's Gotham. But Duella, you know, you have to... Like I said, she's from the streets. She's always had people looking down on her. She's never had people have her back before, so now that she's got it, she don't want to let it go. Even after that finale, where everyone, spoiler alert, thinks Turner is dead, she's like, in his memory, we're going to continue the Gotham Knights, because even though I think it's stupid, he liked helping people, and if we're going to keep his memory alive, we might as well keep helping them too. And then everybody's like, oh, Duella! She's like, don't start with me. Anyway. Girl grew a heart. And I really felt bad for her too, because she was going to connect with her real dad. She was going to connect with Harvey. And then Harvey kind of fucked up, but it's okay. I mean, he was going to come back. I was really looking forward. I'm really hoping that if we do get a season 2, we get unhinged good dad Harvey. I mean, he wanted to be a good dad. He's just unhinged. Moving on, there's the the Rowe twins. Harper and Cullen. They're kind of Harper more than Cullen is standoffish toward other people and people being up in their business. Like I said, Harper especially, because she's I think the eldest sibling, or it appears like she's the older sibling, or at least she's the more protective one, because from what tidbits we got from hers and Cullen's backstory, she was the one protecting Cullen from their father. Their mom, I guess, either died or left. I can't remember. But their dad is like this abusive, alcoholic, drug-addicted piece of shit. Like, horrible to them. And he's really abusive to Cullen because Cullen is trans. And he was really abusive to Harper because she's bi. And he would beat on them. So Harper took it upon herself to do more to attract his attention to keep him away from Cullen. So she would take it. And then when she could, she took Cullen and what money they had and she bolted. They bolted. And then for the love of her brother, she decides to hook up with the mob, or one of the mobs in Gotham, because it's Gotham, there's a lot of mobs. And there's a himbo guy. He's a mob prince, child of the main mobster. And he is a criminal. I'm not gonna lie, he is a criminal. He knows that what he does isn't right. But at the same time, he's a himbo. He wants to help Harper. He wants to do good things for Harper. He's just not that smart. And she kind of takes advantage of that, which she ends up apologizing to him for after everything kind of comes out in the open. And she's like, look, I'm sorry I've been using you. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. I am sorry that I broke us. But in my defense, my brother needed me, and then I also needed your money to figure out how I can clear my name because the Quarter Vowels are trying to kill me. And he's just like, I understand, but at the same time, I'm going to have to shoot you. And she's like, fair. He never really did get around to shooting her because the others kind of came in at that point. But he understood where she was coming from, and he even was like, I'll talk to my therapist about this. It'll be fine. Gotham. Gotham. So she's like, she did that, or she got in with the mob because she wanted to get enough money so that Cullen could get his top surgery. And it's just, they are such wholesome family goals. I love a brother-sister duo. She's one of the people she's kind of like Stephanie, except she had to learn on the fly. She knows how to break and enter, get into the websites and take off the alarms and stuff. And Cullen's like the getaway driver. He's also a master of disguise because he manages to walk right into GCPD pretending to be a cop and everybody being like, hey! And he's just like, hey! Don't look too close. I actually kind of would have loved to see Cullen become like a junior member of the Gotham Police, or at least like a spin-off with him and the one cop he really got along with, the lieutenant. I think he was a lieutenant, because honestly, they're like the only two cops who are not part of ACAB, which is mostly because Cullen's not a cop and the other dude, he was just wholesome. I don't know how the hell he got involved in the Gotham Police Force. But anyway, and Cullen is he is so happy about being in a little family unit and having his sister be with these other people and getting to enjoy and be part of a team. Like, he's thriving. He is living his best life. Excuse me. Carrie's learning how to navigate not being being Robin without a Batman. She's opening up to the others, and she's using her new skills the skills she learned from Batman and the skills she's learned from being the daughter of one of the best surgeons in Gotham to clear their names. And she's amazing. And then Stephanie is dealing with her own shit. Her dad is the Quiz Bowl host dude, Arthur Brown, which you all know he becomes Clue Master, but we didn't get to see that arc, which is upsetting because we could have seen that in season 2, because in season 1 he ends up, spoiler, going to jail. Why? Because his wife is a drug addict and he is an enabler, and they both made Stephanie's life miserable because they're trying to make her take care of her mother and be okay with this whole abusive, not because her mom's not just abusing the pills and alcohol, she's actively abusing Stephanie too, mostly through screaming and yelling at her and putting her down, but also on the occasional slap across the face, which is bullshit. It is. Which Stephanie ends up telling them both to go themselves. And Harper helps because, spoiler, Harper and Stephanie are together and it's really beautiful, or they get together and it's really beautiful, and Harper tells off Stephanie's mom, which I would love to see her tell off her own father too, even though we never really saw him except we only really heard about him, we never really saw him. I'm kind of think he's dead. But if he's not, I would have loved to have seen him pop up in season 2 too. And maybe Stephanie returned the favor of popping off the way Harper popped off to her mom, because Harper went off on Stephanie's mom. She's over here just because you hate yourself and you hate your life does not mean you get to take it out on Stephanie. You brought her in this world. You tried to make her a doll. It's not your fault that she doesn't want to play your little role anymore. And beautiful. It's beautiful. And then of course there's Turner, he went from his parents dying to being adopted by Bruce, to finding out that not only was Bruce Batman, but that he was murdered, to finding out the truth about his birth parents, which is major spoilers, and it comes through being held hostage by the Court of Owls and then gave this hallucinogenic. His parents were killed by Batman. His biological parents were killed by Bruce. Why? Well, this came up when he was being reinterrogated by the police, because the police recaptured the group, and he finds out that his birth parents were assassins sent to kill the Batman. And so Batman didn't mean to kill them, he was just defending himself, and he found out that they had a kid, and he was like, I'm not letting this kid be taken in by their assassin organization, so I'm taking the kid. This becomes kind of a big deal because later on, the assassins, when there's a major collapse, they whisk away Turner and let everybody think Turner's dead. They whisk Turner away and take him to the leader of the assassin group that his parents once belonged to. And spoiler, no, it's not the League of Assassins, because apparently they're overdone and they were already done in Arrow's show, so we don't get Ra's al Ghul, we get somebody else. Henry Ducard? Anyway, I don't know if that's a Batman storyline or not, because there are so many different Batman stories. I only know a handful. Which, shame on me for being a DC. I love being a DC. I love the DC comics. But I can only get my hands on so many. I've only read so many. Just shame on me. But yeah. I think what I really want to talk about, though, is Harvey Dent. Because there was so much potential with Harvey. So everybody knows Harvey becomes Two-Face. Like, eventually. Like, that's a big thing. That's a canonized thing. Harvey is suffering, they call it identity dysmorphia in the show. I don't know if that's a legit term or if that's just a Gotham version of it. It's like I guess it's a version of dissociative identity. But his, the way this Harvey is, I don't know if it follows a lot of the comics. I know some of the comics have it done like this, some don't. I know, Batman the Animated Series kind of hinted at this, or hinted at Harvey having these problems before the acid attack. But it was like only hinted at until the acid. But anyway, Misha Collins is Harvey Dent. And, we see Harvey, and he is trying to be a do-gooder. He might have secretly been in love with Bruce because, there's hints that there was something going on there. It was just hints. It could have been just, because they were BFFs. But everybody likes to speculate. You know how it is. But as the series progresses, we find out that Harvey's dad had BID. Or identity dysmorphia, or there was something going on with Harvey's dad where he was literally two different people, and one of those people hated Harvey, saw him as I don't know, he just hated children. He really hated Harvey. He didn't want Harvey, so he would literally beat the slop out of Harvey, try to kill him until Harvey's dad took back over and would be like, "Oh no, Harvey, I'm so sorry." Which push little bitty bit, which you have to understand, Harvey's like a little kid. He's going through this. Harvey remembers, because he blocked this out, that in his childhood he had an imaginary friend who would sometimes help him do things he couldn't normally do. And one of those things was he essentially killed his dad by pushing him down the stairs while he was blackout drunk. So that's the first hint or one of the things about other Harvey. And, it's hinted at throughout the series that Harvey's having issues with his mind. The identity dysmorphia. It's come back. He thought he had beaten it, or that it was something he had beaten, something he had overcome. But it turns out, because of the Court of Owls knows him, and they've been bringing it out to play. Which it's come out to play a few times even before then, because previously, before the series, let's put it this way, he's not technically bad Harvey, because there's no technically bad, good Harvey. There's White Knight Harvey, which is normal Harvey, the one who wants to be the savior of Gotham, and Harvey who's out for himself, or the Harvey who's more selfish, more what's good for Harvey. Fun Harvey's how he calls himself. So, White Knight Harvey, Fun Harvey. Fun Harvey has been loose, or was loose before the series, a time or two, because he got with Jane Doe, and then because of his dates and stuff with Jane Doe, she actually thought they were in a relationship, but White Knight Harvey had no memory or recollection of being with her. So in his mind, he had a creepy stalker following him everywhere, and turning up at his apartment, showing up at work. And when he would try to be I don't know you, because in his mind, he literally did not know her, she would be she blew up. And then, Fun Harv would take back over, and they'd go and do what they do, and it would start over. which is how come she ended up being put into Arkham, because Harvey seriously thought she was the one deranged because he didn't know what bad Harvey or fun Harvey was doing. And then there's Joella, which he never knew that she got pregnant. He literally thought that while in Arkham, she and the Joker hooked up, and that's how come Joella happened. He literally had no idea that Joella was his because she never reached out. Also, he probably wouldn't have believed her because he seriously did not realize that what was going on. In fact, the only reason it came back up is because he did a hypnosis thing to himself to reconnect with Fun Harvey and be like, what the fuck is going on? And Fun Harvey being like, so, you've realized I've been out and about, huh? And it's like, did you kill these people? Because the Court of Owls is setting him up to look like the patsy for all these things that's going on. And he's like, no, and I'm trying to find out who is because you won't do it because you want to play by the rules and follow the rule books. Well, guess what? The people we're up against aren't using no rule books, so I have to play. And it's like, I kind of like him arguing with himself. It's kind of fun. And like Misha Collins is so good at, he actually did really good at showing the differences between Fun Harv and White Knight Harv, like through the way they stood, from the way they their facial features, the way they held themselves as they stood and talked, the way they spoke. I mean, it was just the little things. Harvey, Fun Harvey also was having an affair with Rebecca March, wife of Lincoln March, mother of Brody March. So that's how come that was not fun, or that's not good for White Knight Harvey. So, he's on this journey to figure out, one, what's going on with the city, because he believes Turner and the others are innocent, and he believes in the whole Court of Owls thing, because he can see the signs that they're framing him for certain murders, like the murder of the original mayor and the murder of Cressida Clark, who was a whistleblower going to come up and talk about what happened with the court before she was like, killed. But Harvey is like, so Harvey believes them and he's trying his best, but then he finds out what Fun Harvey's been doing behind his back. And I'm not talking about the trying to figure out what's going on with the Court of Owls. I mean like Jane Doe and Rebecca and all this other fun stuff. He ends up getting kidnapped by Jane Doe because she gets out of argument. She's pissed. So she takes him and she brings him in from Joella, and she's like, this is your father. He's the most dangerous man in Gotham because he had everybody believing I was crazy when he's the crazy one. And Joella had her little mind blown, and Harvey had his mind blown, and Joella flat out shot him, but it didn't take, because he had a Court of Owl coin in his shirt pocket, and that's what protected him. But his whole mind was blown because he's like, I have a daughter that I could have been helping raise. I've had a daughter that I could have saved, and you didn't tell me. He's not just mad at Jane for not saying anything. He's mad at other Harvey. Other Harvey's just like, I didn't know she got pregnant. I didn't know we knocked her up. Do you think I would have let my daughter run around Arkham if I known I knocked up Jane? And it's like, you didn't tell me we were playing around with Jane in the first place. And he's like, you never asked. Anyway, then he gets kidnapped again, but this time by Rebecca. Spoiler alert. Yeah, that's a spoiler. Big spoiler. Big spoiler. So Lincoln March is part of the Court of Owls, and as far as the Court of Owls are aware, he's the ringleader. He's the leader of the Court of Owls. And his son will inherit, but Brody doesn't know about any of the Court of Owl business. He doesn't. Lincoln is in charge, he thinks. But really, it's Rebecca pulling the strings. And she flat out tells her husband, it's always a man taking credit for a woman's work. She goes, this is my stuff that I did, and you're over here taking credit. And anyway, she gets bored of Lincoln because he's not, in her mind, he's not ruthless enough to do the job. He's too sentimental. He's too this, he's too that. So she kills him and the rest of the court because she's done with the rest of the court. She's wanting to start over elsewhere. She wants to take Harvey with her because she likes Harvey, but she only likes the other Harvey, and she knows about the both of them. So she kidnaps Harvey and Duella and is like, you better make the other you come out real quick, or I'm going to blow up you, your daughter, and the rest of Gotham. Which is going to blow up the rest of Gotham anyway. But, you know, it is what it is. So Harvey's over here. He's looking at Duella, and he and Duella have this beautiful moment, like this beautiful father-daughter moment where he has her, even her, believing that they can have a relationship. Then he turns into the other guy. And he's smart, and the other guy, you can tell that even if he's not as open about his feelings toward Duella as White Knight Harvey is, Fun Harvey is very much, he loves his daughter. He flat out tries to tell her, you know, we could screw Gotham, they think you're trash, you and me, we could run off with Rebecca, start over, and become kings and queens. And she's over here like, are you listening to yourself? And then she like calls him out on being a bitch and being like second fiddle to the real Harvey. She prefers the real Harvey because that's her real dad, and he's just over here like, I'm gonna pretend that you didn't mean that. Because it really hurts my feelings that you prefer your uncle to me. Because that's how he sees himself. And anyway, he ends up getting Rebecca to let him go. And then they fight. And she's the reason he gets the acid thrown on him. And everybody thinks he ends up dying in the explosion. But he really has slunk out. He has half his face is, of course, the Two-Face face now. And he goes over and he finds Jane. He's like, so you sold our daughter. He was like, did you really think I wasn't going to come and talk to you after you sold our daughter out to the Court of Owls? And she's like, Harvey, let's talk about this. And he's like, there's nothing to talk about. And he pulls out his gun, and she's over here like, Harvey, please. And he's like, you know what, you're right. And he pulls out the coin. He's like, you know, this coin saved my life when you took our daughter on me without letting me defend myself at all. He goes, so, heads, you die. Tails, you live. Let's see what fate has. And he flips the coin, and he looks, and he goes, oh, Jane. And she's over here like, no. And then you just see bang, you just hear bang, bang. But see, if we had season 2, we could have unhinged good dad Harvey. Like, both Harveys, you know, one takes over some, one's takes over some, but both of them are trying to win over Duella. Like, White Knight Harvey's over here trying to give Duella, like, a good life, teach her how to be a good citizen and follow the rules. Meanwhile, the other Fun Harvey's over here like, Duella, I got you some explosives. Or, Duella, look at this pretty gun I found you. We could really just be that father-daughter duo. What do you say? And then, of course, whether Duella's dealing with him or not, from afar, you know, whatever trouble she's in, Harvey from afar just shows up and is like, you better leave my daughter alone. You better. I mean, oh, there's so much we could have had. We could have had Turner having his Batman moment while trying to figure out how to escape from these assassins who've taken him out of Gotham. We could have had Gotham coming together because now they know that it was the Court of Owls and they know that the kids are innocent. So we could have had them trying to piece things together and trying to rebuild and figuring out who they can and can't trust. Did all the court die? I mean, we could have had it all. Oh, I probably should go back to Brody, shouldn't I? I am about 50 minutes into this, or 45 minutes into this, and I have not really touched much on Brody. Brody starts off as like the typical rich kid douchebag kind of guy. Like if this was a normal high school sitcom or normal high school drama thing, he'd be the jock douchebag, rich kid TM kind of thing. But he grows. It takes him a minute. Like, he's really into Stephanie, so he kind of takes her word for it on certain things. But then he realizes, like, they're just friends because she feels no spark, and it's because she is a lesbian. Like, she flat will tell you she's a lesbian because, like, she's tried kissing Turner, she's tried kissing Brody. There's no spark. She kisses Harper, however, and she's like, oh my gosh, so that's what that feels like. And Harper's like, what? She goes, sparks. Anyway. So, Brody, he's okay with them being friends, and I kind of saw a hint that maybe him and Carrie were going to get together because they've grown together, because Brody took, gallantly, however you want to put it, took the blame for something Stephanie did. So he got, like, community service, and his community service was spent at the hospital. And Carrie happened to be there. And so they worked together a little bit at the hospital, and it was real sweet. And you kind of got to see that he's not the jockey douchebag dude. He's always putting on a front because his parents expect him to put on this sort of front. They expect him to act a certain way. Which is kind of like how Stephanie had to be too, because with her family drama. But his was different because his parents are like politicians, or his dad is. His dad's running for mayor. So he ends up getting his wisdom teeth out, or whatever. And he needs, like, some painkillers. So he does the stupid thing, and he decides to go to his dad, get his dad's pain meds, because, you know, he's a kid, he's stupid. And that's when he discovers that his dad has a Court of Owl mask and a video of him killing Cressida Clark. And Brody's just like, my dad's a serial killer. He's part of that owl cult that Stephanie talked about. Oh shit. So he immediately calls Stephanie. He's like, what the f do I do? Because you're right, you were right, I was wrong, Turner's innocent, what do I do? Because, oh my gosh, my mom, she's, like, in danger, because he seriously thinks his mom is innocent in this. Actually, this is how we find out that Rebecca isn't innocent. Well, Stephanie comes up with this idea of, you know, you gather all the evidence, you get your mom out of there, and then you come with us and we're going to help, like, take this all to the police. So Brody goes and approaches his mother, and he's like, look, we gotta get out of here. I don't know what kind of crap dad's involved in, but we gotta get out of here. He's evil and dangerous. And she's like, oh, Brody, I'm so glad you want to protect me, son. And then she stabbed him. And she would have killed him too if it wasn't like the fact that she killed him with the magic electrum dagger thing. So he was going to be dead, but he wasn't really going to be dead. It's like not a forever death. And then, of course, Lincoln shows up, and he's like, what did you do to our son? And she's over here like, clean up this mess. And he's just like, that is our son. She goes, your son was about to turn you into the police because you keep trophies because you're an idiot. And he's just like, you're so mean. And she's like, oh my lord. And, you know, that's how you kind of find out that Rebecca's the one in charge. Lincoln's just her puppet. And she is, like, done with everybody. And that's where she starts realizing that, you know, Lincoln's soft. Lincoln is soft. So, Stephanie and Harper end up, sneaking into the buildings, trying to find, they're trying to stop bombs from going off, really. Well, not the bomb. Okay, no, this is before the bombs. They're trying to stop, this big ritual that's supposed to take place with the Court of Owls. And they think if they can steal, like, the Electrum and stuff, that it won't happen. And that's where they run into where they've been keeping Brody. And Brody, at first I was over here like, oh no, Brody's like secretly working for his mom now, like he's brainwashed, but no. Brody's furious with his parents being evil. He is furious that his family has been doing this to Gotham, and he's furious that he got played. Also, he's really upset that his mommy killed him. He gets his revenge though, like he ends up killing his mommy. Well, he ends up stabbing her, and it is technically the fatal stab wound, but it takes her a little bit to die because then she tries to kill Turner. But the point is, Brody got his revenge, and now Brody, I kind of want to pet him and just be like, it's okay, I'm sorry, your parents were horrible. But yeah. Oh, you're probably wondering about the rest of the Court of Owls. Like I said, Rebecca was tired of them, so instead of doing the super secret ritual that's supposed to give them all immortal life, she just killed them all. Yeah. She's unhinged. And not in a fun way. But I kind of like her. I like her girl bossness. You know. I mean, what a clever way to do a female villain. And like, you can't root for her, and you know you can't root for her, but at the same time you're like taking notes because that is a female villain. She lets all the guys do the work, or lets them think they're doing all the work. Lets them think they've got this under control, and then she yanks them back by their strings like you thought. But yes, we are robbed of season 2 of Gotham Knights. And I don't know if that's going to change. Maybe it'll be saved someday. If it is, wonderful. If it's not, boo. But I mean, there's so much potential of things that could happen now. I mean, Turner with his figuring out being an assassin, or learning how to be sort of an assassin, and then maybe escaping from the assassins who have kidnapped him, or reaching out to the others to let them know he's not dead. Unhinged, good dad Harvey, Duella, and figuring out how to be a team player, or like be better at being a team player. Brody coming to terms with the fact that his parents were monsters. Stephanie, oh my gosh, Stephanie coming to terms with her parents being what they were, because we only got a few episodes of that before, and that was like jumbled in with everything else. So now with everything kind of being quiet, we could have her kind of process it. We could have had Harper and Cullen come face to face with their dad, and maybe have the Gotham Knights whoop the smack off him. You know? I know I'm talking really fast and I'm probably not making sense, but I have a lot of feelings. And we could have had more Batman villains besides the Court of Owls. Like, now that the Court of Owls are out of the way, we could have more Batman villains show up, or newer villains. I mean, we could have had it all. Just bullshit. And I mean, and maybe even later on, I know that the Arrowverse is over now or whatever, but since Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights are not technically part of the Arrowverse, we could have had like a little mini, a little crossover at some point. It would have been cool. Bat Brats with the Superboys. I mean, the possibilities. Anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about for now, because I'm kind of sad again, and I'm still mad about Superman and Lois, because that is not my Lex Luthor. That is not. I did like the Doomsday, though. Again, I'll probably talk about it later. I'm mad about what the CW's done to Superman and Lois with all the cast, the cast redos, casting redos. I'm not even talking properly anymore. Now I have hiccups. Fantastic. Yeah. Corey McCullough from Angel Spider Studios. I'm going to learn to speak, maybe rest a little, and I'll come back later with Superman and Lois, probably. But, hey, who knows? Maybe by some miracle we'll get Gotham Knights back. I mean, they had so much potential. So much potential. Bye, guys.